Hello, it's Cisvolk. Time to enjoy card making with me. Here I have two beautiful background stamps from Alina Crafts store. One with delicate little flowers and one with some larger flowers. I have here two packs of patterned paper of 6 by 6 inch size. This one looks a bit like marble with nice matte colors, and the other one looks like alcohol paper with nice bright colors. I'm going to show you how I use the stamps and papers in combination with Alina's embossing powder to make quick and easy cards, and I will give you some tips and tricks along the way. If you are interested in buying these products, check out the description below this video of my own account Cisvolk. I have a coupon code for you that gives you a 10% discount on both the flower background stamps. The code is valid until October 31st and also still valid for the flower card dies. In the right top corner I will link you to that video. Here you see all of the cards that I will teach you today. I made more cards with the same stamps using another technique. Keep an eye on that one, they are spectacular. So if you want to help me out and see more videos from me on Alina's channel, please also visit my channel Cisvolk and subscribe. When you see such a stamp with a big and busy pattern, you would almost get tired of the idea of coloring it. Coloring a few times is fun, of course, but when you want to make several cards, it can be too much. The quality of these silicone stamps is really very good. Lately Alina has been producing stamps that stamp even better and stick even better on the lid of the stamping tool. Here I stamp with Versamark ink and stamp for a second time to make sure I haven't missed a spot. Alina also sells a similar ink. I will link that product in the description below too. I use two anti-static pieces of paper to catch the excess embossing powder and put it back in the jar. I emboss with white embossing powder from Alina Crafts. With the technique I show you, it's different with every kind of paper and also beautiful for different occasions. Before I stamp, I made the paper anti-static with an embossing pouch. I made mine myself from a pantyhose with some talcum powder. This works just as well. I have used my white embossing powder many times, so my jar is almost empty. It's true that the powder runs out quicker with such a large pattern, but I must say that it lasts a long time. You may have noticed that I left the stamp on the lid between the two prints, and that I did not fix the paper with magnets but with just a piece of washi tape, because otherwise I would stamp on the magnet and the stamp would possibly lift the paper with magnet and all. The two panels for the first two cards are finished. As you will see later in the video, there is a small difference between the older and the newer cards, because while reproducing the cards, I forgot to take the borders into account when placing the stamp. With the cards I made earlier, I first cut the panel to size and taped all edges before stamping. I will show you how to do this later in the video. If you forgot to tape the panel, that's not a problem. If that happens to you too, I have a creative solution here. I will first make two texts quickly. It really matters which ink and which paper you work with. Smooth paper works best. Archival ink produces beautiful sharp prints. Memento ink in combination with transparent embossing also produces a beautiful result. I cut and fold a card at 13.5 centimeters. You see me decide where to cut the panel, so the piece is still great to use. I choose to cut the paper on two sides and stick it in a corner. You will see in a moment what I mean. I mark the spot where I want to cut the paper. The first card I make is 13.5 centimeters square. The panel I am cutting is 13 centimeters square, but you can see that I cut off an extra half centimeter to have a larger white border on the card. For the second card I make Having a border is not important. Always keep the pieces you cut off. You can use them on a new card, but I use them to make a matching envelope. With this glue technique you have the best and easy way to glue your panel on a card. Fold the backing corners, align the panel on the card, press on the corners when the panel is in the right position and pull off the backing paper. Also, for gluing the sentiment I use the same technique. I don't trust my eyes, so I use my T-ruler to stick straight, just to be sure. The card is beautiful as it is, but I like the idea of adding an extra sparkle. Here I have a bag of shiny gems from Alena's shop. I glue them on with some glossy accents. You can also glue them on with normal glue, but with normal glue you might see some spots when the glue comes out, and that's why I use the glossy accents. I stick a few on and now my card is ready. For the envelope, I used one of the strips that I had cut from the panel. I also stick this on with double-sided tape with the same technique. The other envelope I stamped with the same stamp and pink ink. I used washi tape to mask the border. I love it when I make little mistakes. As a result, I make more creative cards. This card is similar to the previous one, but with just a little difference. In fact, I like it even more. Now let me show you how I make the next card. I cut off all the edges with the guillotine trimmer and then I cut the flowers with scissors. I do this carefully because I use the remaining part for the envelope. If you don't want to decorate the envelope, you can use it for a second card. If you cut very slowly and turn the paper while cutting, you will have the best control and achieve the best result. Also use very small and sharp scissors. I cut in the middle of the white edge, so that you can still see white on both sides, although I do cut a bit away from the middle. Always leave a white border on the side you are using. When you cut, hold the scissors under your paper like I do. That way only the tip comes out above the paper and you can see much better where to cut. And not unimportantly, you don't wrinkle the paper. Please note that this video is played in accelerated mode, approximately 4 times faster. My advice to you is to cut slow. I cut the border for the C6 envelope at 10.5 cm. Of course you can stick it on the card just like that, but I like an extra dimension and some extra color. So I will show you how I ink blend and then glue the embossed panel on the card with foam tape. I mask the edge with washi tape because I want the white edge to continue and not be accidentally colored in. I color with a contrasting color that is present in the paper anyway. In this case I use purple. I like to ink blend with water-based ink on extra smooth paper. I slide the panel back so that I can see where I want the ink to be. Do not press too hard when blending and make a rotating movement. I myself use a makeup brush. Alena sells the same brushes in different colors, which is very handy. I have already ordered them. I use these foam blocks to glue the panel on. With a little raising, it gives your card just that little bit more of a luxurious look. The piece of washi tape that I stuck on was too short. I ink blended on a part I didn't want ink. I used a water brush to wash away the bit of ink that I blended too much. It's handy that it's water-based ink. Be careful though, because it is just paper that doesn't really hold up to water. I show different ways to use the leftover piece on the envelope. You can use it vertically or horizontally. You can place it on the back, on the front, wherever you like. I prefer to glue the part with double-sided tape from Alina Crafts, especially on envelope paper. That's very thin paper and bumps up quickly with glue. The tape is also very strong, and you can be sure that the decoration will still be on when the recipient receives the mail. See that I leave on a piece of backing foil. With this I make sure that I can align where I stick it, without it being immediately stuck. When it's in the right place, I press it down and pull off the remaining backing. The tape is available in different thicknesses. I use 3mm tape, which is the smallest tape available. I will quickly stamp some texts. The quality is good with this archival ink, also from Alina's shop. I emboss with transparent embossing powder to make it shiny. I put a text strip on the card and mark where I want to cut. I prefer to use my guillotine trimmer so that I can be sure that I'm not going wrong. I stick the text strip on with double-sided tape and stick a double layer on the part that is not raised. I stick that part on first and only pull the backing off the other part once I have the strip straight aligned on the card. And here is the result. Now over to another card. For this card I'm using the marble pattern 6x6 paper pad and this detailed background stamp. First I cut a square of 12.5 centimeters. I tape the edges of this piece of paper to create a natural border. So this is what I had skipped on the first two cards. I used the lines on my work mat to stick the washi tape straight on. Now I spread talcum powder on the paper. This time I stamp with black memento ink. This ink makes sharp, thin prints and is beautiful when embossed transparently. I use Alina Crafts transparent embossing powder. Leave the washi tape on for a while. If you were to remove it before putting the embossing powder on, you would also be embossing the edges. The embossing powder would stick to the glue residue of the washi tape, and that's not what you want. I also stamped this strip to use for the envelope. I put a piece of scrap paper under it to protect my stamping tool. Now look how beautifully detailed this print is and how cool it looks when I heat emboss it. Washi tape or other masking tape can sometimes damage your paper and that would be a waste of your work. But did you know that the tape comes off much easier when you heat emboss it first? I align the stamp where I had stamped it with the card I'm going to use underneath. This requires a bit of shifting and looking through the stamp before it lies properly. Just make sure the stamp is clean before you do this. I stick the card I'm about to stamp on with tape. Magnets don't fit because the stamp is bigger than the card and otherwise I could be stamping on the magnets. I only ink the pattern in the middle, since that's the only part that will be visible later. I stamp with Alina Crafts black archival ink, which does very well on smooth cardstock. I only want to use the hydrangea, which is the flower made up of all the little flowers in the middle. And I press very hard, but that's because I have a foam underlay in my tool. Now I will cut out only the hydrangea. For this I use a sharp and pointed pair of scissors. I poke a hole in the middle and cut to the edge I want to cut out. If you find it difficult to determine where to cut, you can also outline it in advance with a colored pen, of course. Make sure you draw this on the inside because you shouldn't see that line again afterwards. Obviously this video is speeding up, but try to cut as slowly as possible and stay on the outside of the embossed lines, keeping the black lines visible. Keep the scissors straight and turn the paper. Also keep the scissors at the bottom of the paper. When I put this panel on the card, you see what an awesome effect this gives. I think it's beautiful. You can do it with any color. You can also color it in, or ink blend it for a different effect. I'm going to make a shaker card out of it. For the shaker card in the example I showed in the beginning of the video, I used a thin acetate foil, thin plastic. And the advantage of this is that the card is lighter in the mail. Here I am going to use a thicker acetate foil, which I am cutting to size for the hole in the panel. I stick it on with double-sided tin tape. Then I put double-sided foam over it. I cover the whole panel. I coat the window part with a little talcum powder to make it anti-static and also to make sure the sequins don't stick to the edges of the foam. Now I sprinkle some sequins on the card. There are way too many of them. You don't need many. In the other card I had mixed them with other sequins from Alina's shop. I had forgotten to do that with this one. These have tiny hearts and stars. They are very static. Mixing them with bigger sequins make them shake better. I have removed the backing of the foam tape and placed it in the middle of the card. To give the image some more depth, I put white lines with a white gel pen. The white lines give a highlight effect which makes it extra beautiful. Just put some lines at the edges of the leaves. It doesn't have to be everywhere and it doesn't have to be perfect. Keep in mind that the ink from the pen needs some time to dry, so make sure you don't wipe your hand over it while drawing. The text strip is stamped on the same paper as the card base. I let it hover above the card to find the right place to stick it. And I cut this strip in a different way to that of the green card. I stick it on with foam tape, and so this card is also finished. I also colored the edge for the envelope with white gel pen. I cut the strip slightly narrower and shorter and stuck it on using double-sided tape as well. For making such shaker cards, I recommend you to mix both sequins for a shaker card. Then it shakes better. A card with a bit stronger acetate foil is nicer, but a bit heavier in the mail. On my Instagram account Cisvolk, I show all the cards I have designed for Alina Crafts. You will see that I've made more cards with Alina's products. I hope to inspire you. For the card you see here, I embossed a piece of black paper with white embossing powder. And over that I placed a smaller panel with a die-cut circle in it. I glued it with foam tape for the raised effect. With the same circle I die-cut a hole in a large piece of scrap paper, which I laid over the envelope before stamping the envelope with the stamp. Here you will see again the cards that I've made in the last few days. There will be another video soon on my channel using the same stamps, where I use them in combination with explosion powder. Also a very cool technique to try. Don't forget to use the coupon code I got from Alina's shop. That's on my own channel Cisvolk, in the description below the video. Everyone who buys these background flower stamps and also the flower card via the link in my own channel Cisvolk will get 10% off. The code is valid until October the 31st of 2021. On my channel Cisvolk I also have a video with tips on how to organize your dies and stamps in self-made folders. If you watch this video through Alina Crafts channel, please visit and subscribe to my own channel as well. It helps me to be able to make more videos for Alina. I hope I inspired you to make a similar card too. And I hope I have given you lots of tips and tricks for your own card making. The products I used to make this card are described in the description below. When you use my links, I get a small commission for them that costs you nothing extra. Please feel free to ask me any questions you have. I like sharing tips and tricks, and I like to see you in the next video. So be sure to click on the subscribe button and the bell button below. See you next time. Bye bye.